Now, I've cooked lots of Italian, Indian, lots of Southeast Asian cuisine on the show. Not much Scottish food. I think it's a fantastic cuisine that we need to talk about more, and Ali Stoner is here to show us one of your family recipes.
Yes, hi Justine. This is a recipe actually from the borders in Scotland. It's called Rumbledethumps. It's kind of just
the names of Scottish food.
I know. I don't even know where the name comes from. It's meant to come from the sound it makes as you rattle it around the pan and everything's getting mixed together.
Right.
So I'm going to just get some butter into the pan to start with.
So it's almost like a bit like a cold cannon. Am I allowed to say that?
Well, yeah, you can. And many people have pointed that out. And I think there's a lot of similarity between Irish and Scottish cooking.
Yep.
The climate's the same, so the growing conditions are the same. So we have a lot of the same product.
Yes.
Potatoes are popular in both Ireland and Scotland.
Course,
so colcannon is really just the Irish version of the Scottish Rumbledethumps. So we're just going to add a bit of olive oil in with the butter.
And you've got 2 onions here that'll go in?
Yep, 2 onions. I'm going to finely slice those. Justine, if you could finely slice the Brussels sprouts, it's super quick just to do them in a little food processor.
Yes. That was so quick, wasn't it? Makes life a lot easier. And if you didn't want to use Brussels sprouts, could you use cabbage for this?
Traditionally, actually, it would be made with cabbage. I just like making it with Brussels sprouts because I figured that it's the only way I can actually get my daughter to eat them is by putting them in this.
That is a brilliant idea. And the thinner they are, the sweeter they're going to become and the longer they're going to cook for. So they won't have that intense flavour that people usually don't like with Brussels sprouts.
That's right. And I think it's a very old-fashioned to be boiling Brussels sprouts. Once you actually saute them, they actually turn this lovely flavour with the caramelisation. And it really changes the flavour and texture of them. Justine, could you pop the sprouts in as well?
Can do.
And then what I like to do is just add a good sprinkle of salt at the same time. So it just really helps the softening process.
Tastes better too.
Yeah, a little bit of salt in every stage of the cooking.
Absolutely.
That's the way we like to go.
Yeah.
OK, let's pop the lid on this and let these soften down.
OK.
Then we're going to go straight into making the topping. We're going to start with the butter. Now, normally this would just be a cheddar cheese on the topping, but I like to add that little bit more Scottish to it by toasting off some oats and a little bit of breadcrumbs. This is a finer oatmeal. It's not like a porridge oats. It's like an oatmeal. It's kind of finer ground, more kind of almost more floury in texture. If you just have porridge oats in your cupboard, you can use that and just grind them down in a little food processor. And we follow that up with the breadcrumbs. Just some panko breadcrumbs, just to make a nice crunchy topping.
Love it. And whenever you're doing this on the stove top, don't walk away. No, they get golden quite quickly.
Yeah, these do kind of turn very quickly. You can see the butter is just being completely absorbed so quickly by the oats and by the breadcrumbs. So I'm just going to add a little bit of salt here to this as well. And be quite generous with that. A couple of good pinches, I think.
Nice.
And Justine, could you maybe, just while I keep an eye on this, could you chop up some herbs for me? Some thyme and some sage, that'd be fantastic.
Easy, honestly.
Right, we've got this just slightly toasted, these breadcrumbs. They're only just like a golden stage, so we don't want to take them too far because they will get nice and crispy on the top. So could you add in some of the herbs? We've got some thyme and some sage, some cheddar cheese, and then the zest of a lemon. We'll all go into that and get mixed up, ready to go.
Oh, it smells so good with the sage and thyme. Just mix through that. Ooh, that smells very good too.
Yeah, so these are now lovely and caramelised. The liquid's all kind of disappeared from, and they're a little bit kind of brown around the edges, just to get some lovely flavour. And so we're just going to get onto the mashed potato now, and then these can all get added into it.
So we've just boiled and then strained them.
Yeah, just a light steam on the potatoes just to make sure they're nice and soft, and then we're going to give them a really good mash.
Okay. And so, Ali, tell me a little bit about what you're doing at the moment. I know you were on MasterChef season 14, as I recall.
That's right. That's right, I was.
Yes.
Yeah, it was interesting being on MasterChef because that's when I really started to explore my Scottish heritage as a way to stand out, because I think for most people, the Scottish food is pretty much haggis and a deep-fried Mars bar. But there is a lot more to it, and I grew up eating lots of traditional Scottish food. My mum's a great cook. The more I've explored it, the more interesting I found it. So
fantastic.
I'm actually just going to add a little bit of cream to this.
Just some thickened cream.
And we're just gonna mash that through. A little sprinkle of salt, Justine, would be amazing. Thank you.
There we go.
We're gonna add in our lovely caramelised onions and sprouts.
Fantastic.
Now this is where the dish gets its name.
Right.
We're gonna
Whip it. Jeez. It's hard work.
It is like you need some muscle power here.
Wow.
As you would do with a mashed potato, you kind of give it a good thrashing. And this is where it comes from. This is meant to sound like Rumbledethump.
Rumbledethump. Rumbledethump. I see. Very good.
Finishing touches here are a little bit of Dijon mustard.
A little spoon for you.
And actually, Justine, if you could just quickly chop those chives, we're going to put a bunch of chives in there as well.
So
Just about half a bunch of chives, that'd be fantastic.
Easy.
Just pop that in, and we're going to give that one last
Rumbledethumpery.
Rumbledethump.
Rumbledethump.
So we're just going to get this into our little dish here.
And we've just buttered that. Oh, I can see this on the menu for my next Sunday roast. Roast chook or roast pork with this. Brussels sprouts. Just the best combination.
We're just going to spread this out, just gently. It doesn't need to be pressed in or anything. It can be quite rough and tumble.
And the crumbs go on top?
Yep, crumbs go on top, Justine, that'd be amazing. And that gives us just a lovely crispy coating.
Oh, fantastic. And how long are we baking this in the oven for?
So probably for about 40 minutes, just till it's nice and golden on the top and bubbling around the edges. You want the cheese all melted, so you get that lovely contrast of the crispy topping with the soft potatoes underneath and that delicious caramelised flavour of the sprouts.
Oh, this is going to be very good. All right, into the oven. Well, Ali, this looks very good indeed.
It's come out all right, hasn't it?
It smells great because I can smell the sage and the thyme that we used on the top of it.
You see all the cheddar's now melted onto the top and it's got that lovely crispy coating. So
Oh, yes.
get it stuck in.
Please. And if you didn't want to take it to that next level, making the crumb and popping it on top, you could. But
you could
crunch is just so much better though, right?
Yeah, look, you could just stick a bit of cheddar cheese on the top, really, if you wanted to. If you don't want to go with the oats and the breadcrumbs. But yeah, I think the crunch really adds something to it.
Oh, yes. Looks good. Let's have a taste. Definitely want to get some of that oat topping. Who said Scottish food is just haggis and deep-fried Mars bars? Rubbish!
It's flavour. It's flavour, isn't it?
Like, I could just eat the bowl of Rumbledethump as is because it is so moorish and delicious, and the texture of that topping is just so good.
It's so nice. I think it's all those different flavours in there. It's more than just mashed potato.
Oh.
It's actually more than just Colcannon, dare I say it.
Move over, Colcannon. The Scots are coming.
Rumbledethumps is here.
It sure is. Ali, thank you. That is really delicious.
Thank you.